Howdy, y'all. Welcome to another episode of the Rainbow Crossing Podcast, a podcast where Gen X and Gen Z discuss life's challenges and how we face them as queer people. We have these open conversations to foster a sense of community through different perspectives. I am Julio Guzman, and with me is my lovely roommate.
Yes. Pretty sure that's
Daniel,
still
woo.
our status.
It is still our status.
Yeah. Well,
Shh. It's our status. It is definitely our status.
Yeah.
I still live here.
most of the time.
I do. Anyways, moving on, sir. What are you trying? What you trying to blab about?
I just trying to figure out how your week was because I haven't seen you in so long.
In so long. Where have I been?
I
Girl, the streets have been kind to me. We'll say that much.
okay. Okay.
We will say that much for now.
Yeah.
Stop plotting my demise. Stay out of my business. Who are you? My father?
Yes.
I'm gone for a couple days, and you're like, hey, where are you?
Uh-huh.
Well, maybe you've been gone for a couple days.
Only mentally. I don't have anything going on here. I mean, other than work. Like I got to worry about something.
So you worry about me.
Yeah. I mean, I don't worry about you. You're pretty capable, but you know, I'm like, is Julio okay?
Oh, I know I've been away for a bit,
Yeah.
but I miss you, and I'm happy to be here, and I'm finally glad that we're talking and doing this episode. Even though that sounded like
Same.
sarcasm, I really did mean it.
I
I swear.
now I'm doubting it. Huh. Well, how has your week been since I have not had
My
a chance
week
to
has
catch up?
been good. I just feel like I've been working
Yeah.
nonstop, or if I haven't been working, then I've been studying because I'm getting Pilates certified.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that's where I've been. A lot of
Nice.
work, a lot of fitness, a lot of mind work, and physical work
Yeah.
as well. But nothing but good vibes. I'm very happy. It's been a good week.
That's great.
What about you?
Again, just preparing to head to Puerto Vallarta very soon.
I'm so jealous. Ugh.
I know it'll be beautiful. There's going to be a lot of work there, but there
yeah.
were a lot of beautiful sights. Let's call them sights.
But also, most importantly, to like get away from America for a little bit sounds lovely.
Yeah,
In my eyes.
yeah.
I mean, I'm trapped here. Well, maybe I'm not. They could deport me, even though I'm legal.
Yes.
They've been making that mistake lately.
Yeah, I mean, part of me hopes that they'll deny my reentry into the U.S.
Okay, sure.
Obviously,
no.
I'm not who they're targeting, but I could think of worse places to stay than Mexico.
I mean, you would thrive. You honestly would.
Yeah,
I believe it. And they got a female president. What else could you want? What more could you want?
exactly.
They're already ahead of us. Mentally.
Yeah. I mean, every country has things to work on. Mexico is no exception, obviously.
I think we have the most to work on, though.
Oh, yeah. If we're comparing, I mean, it's apples to oranges here.
And ours are bitter and rotten. That's what the fruit we're dealing with.
Yeah. Yes. It is nice to see other countries reacting to what the U.S. is going through right now and our insane administration with Canada and Australia having unexpected left-leaning administrations that they have just elected. So, and against the odds, they were thought that those two countries were going to go more conservative this election cycle. And surprise, surprise, it seems like the Trump effect is having a positive impact on the rest of the world.
So maybe this is literal hell.
Yeah. How do we escape?
It's crazy that this is the place everyone wanted to come to escape, and now everyone's like, should we escape?
Yeah. We could go on and on about that for the whole podcast, unfortunately. There's just that much bad news, insane news to share on the daily right now.
But there's a couple more important things to talk about at the moment.
Yes.
I think. Especially you lately, I've noticed your uptake in activity, in your work activity.
Yes.
And it leads me to ask the question, are we going to have the sex talk today?
Well, I think it's about time.
Do we need to have the sex talk? Because, son, it's not a pleasant one.
Oh, have you seen my browser history?
Yeah, girl, not only your browser history, but every time I walk in that room, I'm like, what is happening here? Or I'm like in the room with you and I look down at my phone and then I just hear some weird noises happening and I like look up and I'm like, oh my God, right on your screen.
It's work.
It is work. Honestly, get that coin.
Yeah. I mean,
Someone's got to pay the house. Someone's got to pay these bills.
that's what I'm saying.
And I thank you for it.
Exactly. Thank you. But I do think it is time we had that birds and the bees talk.
Because it's not a common thing to have. For gay people, it's kind of, you're just thrown into the ringer and they're like, figure it out.
Right.
What does a successful gay sex chemistry look like?
Yeah.
Is there a healthy way to navigate it? Is it all just free for all? Like, so many questions.
Well, I mean, straight people, I think, have the same issues too, as far as like what constitutes a good sex life. Like, your parents may explain sex to you, maybe. Some parents may not want to have that conversation at all. But how do you explain what makes up a good sex life? So even straight individuals, I'm sure, struggle with that to a degree. But then you've got the gay situation, and like how do we figure that out as we're going along?
For sure. I mean, I'm still trying to figure it out too,
Yeah.
It's a long journey understanding the whole world of sex overall.
Yeah.
And how it could affect you and your partners, or could advance you, or could also prohibit you from progressing.
Yeah. Yeah. And whether you're partnered or not partnered, I mean, everybody wants to have good sex.
Oh, for sure.
So, what qualifies as good sex? What is sex in general? And then how do you put that into play, whether it's someone new every week or if it's that monogamous partner that you have in year 30? So tell me.
Oh, you're asking me. I'm like, that's a loaded question.
Well, let's back up for a second then. How about we start with, let's just qualify sex. Like, what are we even talking about here?
Well, in my mind, to me,
Yeah.
sex is something that is enjoyed between you and someone that you enjoy thoroughly and you can explore things with. At that moment, that's what it means to me.
Yeah.
Back then it was just more like, who's the hottest person I can sleep with, and let's figure this out.
Yeah. Yeah.
How can I get there? You're hot. I want to get into it. Let's get into it. And that was my approach to sex when I was younger. Now I feel a little bit more, I guess, looking for something deeper. Don't get me wrong. I still got my moments where I'm feeling a little, we all have them.
Of course.
But I am definitely more on the deeper path.
Yeah.
For sure.
And when we're talking about sex, like, it can constitute a lot of things.
Oh, yes. I mean,
Not just penetrative sex.
no.
But
oral sex.
sure.
Foreplay.
Sure.
Anything you can think of.
Right.
I mean, there's some extremities as well. Some other kinky things that I'm not into, but the girls, the gays,
Hey, we
don't shame.
Right,
No. But
Yes.
it's not for all of us.
we listen and we do not judge.
As long as you're being safe and being considerate,
Right.
then
Exactly.
go off, sis.
Exactly. I mean, when I got back into the dating scene a year or so ago, there was this new category called a side. Like, I didn't even know that existed. I mean, I knew top, bottom, verse.
It's so funny because when I found out this as well too. I didn't also hear it until like 3 years ago, by the way. Maybe a little bit later than that. Maybe it was 2 years ago. I'm not too sure, but it is new from what I understand.
Yeah.
I've never heard it before until recently. But there's this gay friend of mine who's about 35, and he asked me the other day, he was like, have you ever just sighed? And I'm like, what? And then he was like, yeah, like I was flirting with someone and they just told me that they were a side. And then he's like, what is that? And I had to like explain it to him, and I'm like, yep, the more you know. And he's like, well, now it has a name.
Well, explain it to
Oh, I
us.
think you should. You're the expert here.
Nope.
You work with all kinds of things.
I
every
don't. I don't
single
work
day.
with sides. Trust me.
But you know the definition of the things because it's your work. Let's talk about it. Come on. You're basically a sex therapist at this point. I'm joking. He's not a licensed professional on sex therapy, but
I am failing miserably if that's the case.
but a side is basically someone who only is into oral.
Yeah.
All they want to do is oral. They're not into
no penetrative.
They're not into anal penetration. They just want to do oral.
They've always been around, but now there's a
name.
There's a name.
Everything's getting labeled these days.
Yeah.
Just to classify it.
Yeah.
It helps people process what they're
Exactly.
what they're experiencing.
Yeah. Exactly. So when you think about the many years and the many conquests that you've had, what percentage of your sexual encounters would you say are good, average, bad?
I'm going to say 98% good.
98% good.
98% good.
Good Lord.
1,000%.
Wow.
I mean, I do a lot of work. That's all I'm going to say. I do a lot of work, and I make sure it's a good time for whoever is involved.
You're putting in the effort.
I have to.
Yeah.
Or else, like, what's the point?
Yeah.
If we're not going to enjoy this, what is the point?
Right.
So might as well make this a good experience. I think the 2%, I think those were also good experiences. Like, they weren't bad, but what would make them bad is, like, maybe sometimes I got, like, painted. It's very rarely, but, you know, it happens.
Yeah, sure.
So it doesn't make the experience bad necessarily, but that would classify it from a being 100%. You know what I mean?
Sure. Well, I think that that's an excellent record, and I think that it speaks to you how you go into and who you are connecting with to start. Because I think that there's probably a lot of people that would say that that's just an exceptional number, that 98%. Because a lot of people aren't necessarily cultivating who they're sleeping with. They're just like, I'm horny right now. Somebody's nearby. Let's hook up. And it may or may not be a great experience. So, yeah, like I would say out of my experiences, maybe 65 to 70 are good.
Gotcha.
And then maybe 25% are average. And then like 5 or 10%, whatever's left over
So out of
there.
the 600 people, you're probably at like 500?
Right.
Got it.
Right.
Noted.
Yeah. I mean, I do have more years of experience, therefore.
For sure, that's why
most likely
that number was pretty close to accurate.
I don't know how accurate that was. It seemed a little low to me.
Okay. True though. I feel like you're not kidding.
Yeah. Who knows really? Who knows really?
You've lived a fun life.
I have lived a fun life. You know, you do what you love. And
sometimes it's just men after men after men.
Yeah. We're not shaming
No,
here
'cause
today
we
with
listen.
this conversation.
Because we listen and we don't judge.
Thank you.
But we acknowledge.
Yeah. I'm aware.
We're not delusional here. We're still going to acknowledge what's happening.
I'm
and
aware.
that we're going to be aware that it's factual.
Yes. I don't know what the number is, to be honest. But
Neither do I.
But the majority has been a good experience. And but a lot of people don't necessarily have the best experiences when it comes to sex. So I guess the overarching question today is, what is good sex and how do we find it, or how do we create it, cultivate it? And it sounds like you have had a lot of good sex. So you are the expert today.
But no. It's more like I've enjoyed it and they for sure enjoy it because trust me, I'm seeing it, I'm understanding it. And sometimes I'm like, are you just saying this to say this? But no. Once they keep saying things, once every partner that you almost sleep with has to say something, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
it's not just me. It's actually true.
It is just you.
No. I actually have a very, at this point, complicated connection with sex because I've been processing a lot of my sexual trauma within the past 2 years.
Sure.
So like, but all of that happened before I made the moves myself, if that makes sense. So healing from that, my adult life, I at least feel more confident in it, but still going from casual sex to actually dating sex is different.
Of course.
It's different.
I mean, you can apply a lot of the same things that you use to foster a good sex environment from one to the other, but your connection is completely different.
Oh, for sure.
Once you're dating someone, whether it's an open relationship, a monogamous relationship, whatever, it takes on a different meaning, sex, oftentimes.
1,000%. But we're talking about the initial of how to find it, right? How to get it, how to foster it.
We're just talking about, like, how do you have good sex? Like, what are the elements involved? And it could be as a single man. It could be as someone in a relationship.
The things probably go hand in hand, depending on how much weight you have on it, at least. Yeah. If you're someone who loves just having casual hookups and
Sure.
meeting new people, and that's how they feel fulfilled sexually, then go off. And maybe some of these still might work for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
One of mine, for example, is to develop some kind of emotional connection to the person. And if you are just having casual sex and you're just hooking up with someone for the first and maybe only time, it might be hard to think of having an emotional connection with this person versus when you're in a relationship. Hopefully you have an emotional connection with that person. But for me, if I find just some kind of connection with that person on a higher level than just, I think you're hot, you think I'm hot, then to me, it just makes it a more passionate situation where you just feel like you're closer to the other person. So that allows for, I think a heightened experience personally.
I mean, the more you hang out with someone and the more you actually get to know them, for any scenario, life is just so much better.
Yeah.
And that definitely applies with sex as well.
Yeah. And I know a lot of people, if you're on the apps, they don't want to be chatting for, more than 5 minutes.
Most people on the apps are looking to get it done and
Yeah.
move along.
Yeah.
Maybe some are looking to get it done and hopefully keep something along.
Maybe. But sometimes there's just this primal urge, desire to take care of business and then move on. And that's fine. There's something to be said for that, for sure. But I think even when you're in that moment, if you can find a way to connect with someone on a level beyond that, I think it takes that sex enjoyment to another level, honestly.
Yeah, enjoying someone emotionally is key if you're trying to deepen your sexual connection. One, knowing how they are emotionally can also kind of tell you what they might be into sexually as well. Like if they are a more calm, reserved person, sometimes they're a little bit more little freaky and want to be a little bit more, spicy in the bed.
Yeah.
And then some people who are intense sometimes want something a little bit more passionate and a little bit more sincere and sweet. It really just depends on the person.
Got to explore it.
You got to understand their emotions and also listen to them. Because I feel like a lot of people have sexual trauma.
Unfortunately,
I feel like,
you're probably right.
And emotional connection definitely helps understand your sexual trauma for sure and gives you a little bit more openness to communicating about it in the discomfort.
Right.
So definitely communication is a very important part for good sex.
For sure. And, you can't really develop an emotional connection without that communication. And if you are going to be sleeping with that partner for more than just the one time, and especially if you're in a long-term relationship with someone, then you need that open communication to continue to foster the relationship that you have. Because while you may have communicated initially what your sexual interests were, desires were, et cetera, like we're all evolving. Like you may only be interested in X, Y, and Z right now, but a year from now, you may want to start exploring other avenues.
1,000%. And I mean, communication being something that's very important for good sex chemistry.
Yeah.
Also goes into play in like what you might be interested in exploring or what your partner might be interested in as themselves that you might not be into. Maybe they have other kinks that they're into, and you, as someone who might want to fulfill your sexual partner or just having good sex, I guess, would be to maybe experience those things with them and test it out if you've never tried it before and see if you're maybe into it or meet somewhere in the middle, Communication is very important. But also, let's make it a normal thing for us to also have that safe conversation. I know a lot of people say they do, but also that kind of communication and like, when was the last time you tested? Are you on PrEP? Are you on any other preventatives?
Yeah.
Are you down for condoms? Are you keeping up with your sexual health? Perfect.
Yeah.
Moving on. Let's get it done.
Yeah.
That conversation needs to be more natural.
A lot of people are just embarrassed about that kind of stuff, but it is.
I mean, sometimes I feel weird asking when they're not bringing it up. I'm like, hey,
right.
When was the last time you tested?
It is a completely fair question to ask, 100%. And I think kind of as we're talking about along those lines, I think talking about consent and respecting the other person's wishes is an important part of this conversation too, especially as you're growing a connection with someone else. Obviously, consent needs to happen across the board. Consent is sexy and it is required. And if someone is too inebriated to give consent, for example, it should be a no-go automatically. And how can you even enjoy that if it's a one-sided situation anyway? Now, a person might give consent to be a little more passive in the situation, and that's fine. Like, you two figure out what the boundaries are, what they're willing to do, what you're willing to do, and make sure that you're just respecting each other's wishes along those lines. It only gets a little funky when someone wants you to do something to them that you aren't comfortable with. This is something that I experienced once upon a time with someone who I was in a relationship with, and they wanted me to be a little physically aggressive with them. And this was somebody who I was in love with. They asked me to do something that I did not feel comfortable with at all, because it was something that I believe is not okay, and it does not show love. If anything, it shows that you're demeaning this person. And there are ways to do that, and where both parties can find it, and I'm on board with that. But this particular act was something that I wouldn't do. And I told them, and I was like, I don't know if this is a deal breaker or not, but this is not something I will ever do to you, because it is an act, I think, of violence.
Did he ask you to bottom?
Yes. And that is violent.
I'm joking.
Yeah, I mean, we can laugh about it, and it wasn't something so horrific, but it was just something that
it was not comfortable to you, you know? And if you're trying to enjoy sex, like, yeah, it's good to experiment, but like, if something's off your limits and it's just like, you feel like it's not your vibe, then it's just not your vibe, and move along. We can still enjoy other things, you know?
Yeah.
We don't have to be dead set on this.
Right.
This one thing isn't make or break.
I would hope.
Sex is just a very broad thing. I mean,
yeah, absolutely. I would hope so. You know, another thing, talking kind of like that, is just like finding your level of comfort with someone.
For sure.
And I understand that oftentimes, your emotions and your feelings are heightened in that moment. And to feel kind of comfortable and relaxed is kind of the opposite of where you're going with this. But if you have someone who you have a connection with and you do feel comfortable with them, then it makes everything else just feel, I think, sexier. You know, if you're going to a hookups place and you're just like, I don't know why I'm here, like, I'm in a place I'm not familiar with and I'm uncomfortable with just the setting, it just makes the whole situation start off on the bad foot. So if you can find a way to be comfortable with the person and, still have the passion, but find your level of comfort with them to whatever degree that might mean for you. It might, for some people, you might require more, like, just that communication that we talked about, more talking about consent and boundaries and all that kind of stuff. But for others, you may not need as much to feel comfortable. But if you can find that space, make sure they find that space. And that's where, like, I'm always trying to make sure that the other person is comfortable.
For sure. And both parties must be respected.
Yeah.
It has to work that way. Yeah. Or 3 parties or 4 parties. Whoever's involved has to just be respected.
Right.
Like, that's all that has to happen.
Yeah.
Because, one, you got to be safe and smart and take care of yourselves.
Please be safe and smart.
Most importantly, I mean, the world's trying to take us out. We can't take each other out. So might as well keep it together, girlies.
Yes. Yeah. Another part of that goes in with that equation is being able to trust someone. And when you can trust someone, you can be more vulnerable with them. And again, like, a lot of times hookup situations, like, you don't know who you can trust or not trust.
For sure.
On a variety of levels. Like, you do have to put your faith in someone that they're being honest with you about their STI statuses, and are they in a relationship or not in a relationship.
For sure.
Are they being honest about, I mean, simple things like their age or any question that you may have for them that will make you feel more comfortable. Like once you can find that level of trust with someone, I think it again solidifies the situation and allows you to take some things that might be on top of mind and just put them out of the equation, and therefore you can focus on the more passionate and sexy side of the hookup.
Yeah. You got to make sure that you are feeling comfortable in whatever environment you are in. And even if that environment's outside, I know some of y'all like to be out there in the streets. So wherever you are, just make sure you're comfortable.
Yeah.
And be respectful of everything around you.
Exactly. But I don't want it to sound like it's all just like serious stuff. Like, all of this is important. Consent and trust.
Also understanding like what you like.
Yeah.
You might not always know what you like at all.
Yeah, I think it's that idea of being open to being playful and fun, not being super closed-minded to what's going on, because obviously if you can go in with the mindset of this is for fun, I'm not just going in to fulfill a biological need that I have in this moment, but let's have fun with this. Like, how can you and I connect on a fun, playful level? And that could go in a variety of ways. And especially if you've been in a relationship for a long time, sometimes you have to put in a little work to find the playfulness and the fun side of it again. Do a little role play, something, shake it up a little bit and have fun.
I personally can't have like any distractions on. What I mean is like TV.
Oh yeah.
Can't.
I'm not. No.
Can't.
Same.
Having dialogue in the back completely.
Yeah. I'm not even interested in having music going on. Like I am focused in on the person and what we're doing in that moment.
When I was younger, I would definitely have that music going.
Yeah.
But also roommates.
I was going to say, there are people who could hear you. Yeah.
That's never happened. You've never done that.
I've heard you. No, I haven't.
You haven't heard me do anything.
Thank God. I've just seen the aftermath.
That couch over there.
Oh.
Has been through it.
Thank goodness the cameras can't see that poor couch. All of our roommates have.
I can name 4 different men. Not myself. Maybe I'm one of them. But 4 other men. Not at the same time.
Yeah.
All different scenarios. This couch is just people staying over the night to being too drunk. And then they end up cuddling. And then it's like, wait, what happened there? What is that? Ew. Wipe. They must have been having good sexual chemistry.
Well, maybe we should have them on as a guest next time.
And I'll name them. No, I'm joking.
Go.
I'm not going to name them, but let me pull out this list real quick to name them.
Oh, Lord. I think it's important to, and this is something that I definitely practice, is to be very aware of what's going on with your partner, not just yourself, and to be attentive to their needs. And I feel particularly that tops should be maybe more aware and attentive to the bottoms, just because, I don't know, I feel like they're bearing a certain burden that the top doesn't have to. So, just check in with them and make sure that it feels okay. Do you need more lube?
1,000%.
Like, is the positioning okay? And they can do the same to you. Like, what do you need? But I feel like it's an important conversation just to check in, because everybody's not built the same way, and some people need certain things that others don't.
And tops, you're going to have to last as long as your bottom needs. That's what it should be. If your bottom's cool with it, saying, hey, yeah, just whatever, cool. But if they're not, you got to keep going. I don't know how you got to make it work, but you got to keep going for them, because that's not fair. They put in all this work.
They did put in a lot of work.
For you to just be like, okay, I'm done. No, you aren't done.
Yeah.
You're definitely going to, until I'm
figure it out.
Pleased, you keep going.
Figure it
How
out.
it should be.
Yeah.
And okay, so if you are dating someone, sometimes the sex drive might be different.
Oh yeah,
How do you
for sure.
how do you counter that? What's a healthy way to counter that where it doesn't feel like you're exceeding your limits trying to please them, and also maybe them having to pull back so much from who they feel that they are? How do people balance that?
Right.
You know?
That is, I feel like one of the biggest challenges in relationships in general, gay or straight.
Well,
But
there's many ways to do it.
yeah,
I mean, I'm not one for open relationships, but sometimes that could help.
that
in
is
a
what a lot
very
of people turn to for sure.
in a very and it's very common.
Yeah.
In gay people. No shame. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But it's something that people turn to help with that, combat it. Maybe toys. Toys could be a good outlet for
Yeah.
pleasing your partner or them pleasing themselves.
Yeah.
If they need more of a fill.
I
What are other ways that you feel like?
I think it's important to kind of go back to some of the things that we've already talked about and open up the communication first and foremost. Because if you don't understand what your partner's needs and desires are, it's impossible for you to fulfill them. I think I have kind of an average sex drive, but I've dated people who have sex drives through the roof. So it is really challenging when you got a whole world of things going on and they are just so focused on sex, sex, sex. And there are ways, I believe, that you can raise up your sex level to a degree. You just got to figure out what works for you as an individual and how to communicate that to the other person so they can help you along.
Definitely.
And then you can help them along.
For sure. It's possible.
Yeah.
To find the perfect remedy for your connection and
Yeah.
your sexual chemistry.
Yeah.
But also you got to know when maybe you're not just compatible with that person and you're into different things. And
Right.
you can go explore those things and hopefully meet those people and progress.
It's all a matter of just finding a balance. I think that is an essential part of a good sex environment is finding a good balance of both giving and receiving. And I don't mean that
But
bottom
also
and top. Although that for some people that's very essential is to be able to do a little both, or at least to find a happy medium somewhere there.
Well, to end most good sexual encounters, you got to end on a warm note.
Yeah.
You got to cuddle something.
Some kind of after,
Some kinda kissy.
Yeah, if you know you've got some kind of after care coming. Again, a hookup may not apply to.
It's like out for
Yeah.
the hookup. All right, got everything. Did
Yeah.
I maybe not buy?
And I get it.
What was your name again? Actually, sometimes you don't even get the name.
Right. You left your wallet. I'll mail it to you. I understand that can be.
But if
part of
we're
it.
talking about deeper things here,
Yeah, if we're talking about a relationship sort of situation, just having that, again, it goes back to that deep connection
that emotion.
because you want to have that cuddle, have that kiss, have that shower together afterwards. There's so many things that you can do that can continue the emotional connection. And especially if you know the person and you know that that's what you're going to get afterwards.
For sure.
It's that icing on top of the cake sort of scenario.
For sure. I mean, my one takeaway with this is sex is better with people that you enjoy. And if you don't enjoy them, then it's not worth it. And might as well just please yourself, baby.
Right.
For real. 1,000%.
Yeah. Get yourself a toy. Log in to your favorite website. And
For sure. I've never been scared to have a sexual conversation with people that I'm being sexually active with, but it's not something that I dive in deep. Most of my sexual encounters have been like hookups or people that I date for like a little bit, but it never progresses.
Yeah.
But as things progress with certain people that you date, sometimes you have more serious conversations about sexual things. And I actually I would never be too comfortable diving really deep into it because to me, being sexual was a lot of different things in regards to my feelings. So sometimes conversations didn't feel so right.
Yeah.
So if you do have a sexual partner who has gone through sexual trauma, sometimes you just have to listen more
Absolutely.
than react
Right.
to what they're feeling, because
Right.
it goes deep down,
Right.
whatever it is. And sometimes it's not you, and it's just something that's triggering to them.
Yeah.
So taking time to understand your partners is key. And now I feel more comfortable having sexual conversations. The more and more you have them, the easier it gets.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And the more, I guess, easy it is on yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah. The more you speak to someone else, the easier it'll be for you.
And we're not used to having conversations. Our community isn't used to having advice or guidance. So
Right.
hopefully this is a good way to open that mindset for people to actually maybe get good information and knowledge and approach sex in a healthy way where it's not abusing your mindset.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to start having conversations now. I'm just going to be looking in the mirror and talking to myself, but hey, it's a start. You might as well have sex with someone you love.
For sure. That's what I said. If you're not doing it with someone you enjoy, do it with yourself, because it'll be just as good. Hopefully. You can get creative.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've gotten creative. We all get creative.
Yeah. Yeah. You only live life once. Go have a ball or two.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Miss Thing over there taking a couple in at once. Anywho, thank you, Daniel, for this great episode.
Thank you.
Thank you for giving me a safe space to talk about these things.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, and thank you for joining us today. Give us a like, a comment, ask Julio any sex questions you want, and give us a subscribe.
Well, you could. You're probably going to tell me about them.
Yeah.
Anywho.
We'll see you next time.
Thank y'all. Love y'all. Bye.